Today I am going to discuss about respiratory graphics. You may be think Dr. Dinosha wrongly pronounced it. It must be ventilatory graphics, isn't it? Yes. Respiratory graphics should be belong to your normal respiration. Ventilatory graphics should be belong to your ventilation. Here I am going to discuss about normal respiration and its graphics. Why? I want to make a ventilator and I want to incorporate these graphics into my ventilator. Because of that, I am going to look for normal respiratory graphics now. For that, I am going to do an experiment. What I am going to do is, I am going to puncture my pleura at the bottom level. Here my trachea, here my alveoli, here my alveolar duct, here my lung parenchyma, here my pleura and pleural cavity. I am going to puncture my pleural cavity at the end of the expiration. At the end of the expiration, the base of the pleural cavity pressure roughly about minus 2.5 millimeter mercury. Now centimeter H2O. Minus 2.5 centimeter H2O. If I puncture at the level of apex, here it shows approximately minus 10 centimeter H2O pressure. If I puncture in between, no surprising, it must be somewhere around 2.5 and 10. It is roughly about minus 5 centimeter H2O. This is at the end of the expiration. Now I am going to take breath. If I want to take breath, my prevoid Sanger complex fire, it sends the impulse through my intercostal nerve and asks chest cavity to increase the diameter, AP diameter and lateral diameter, and asks diaphragm to increase the vertical diameter. By that way, I create more negative pressure in my pleural cavity. By that way, I create more negative pressure in my pleural cavity. With that, what happened? Atmospheric pressure is 0, pleural cavity pressure is negative, alveoli also now become more and more negative. Because of that, air will travel from atmosphere into my alveoli. That is how my inspiration happened. I am going to draw a pressure time relationship for that respiratory cycle. I am going to draw pressure time relationship for that respiratory cycle. Here I am going to draw pressure line. Here I am going to draw timeline. During the normal breathing, due to intercostal muscle stretching, intercostal muscle contraction and chest wall expansion and diaphragmatic contraction and AP diameter expansion, not the AP diameter, vertical diameter, very good. Vertical diameter expansion, it will increase the chest wall cavity volume, it will create more negative pleural cavity. Here it dropped from 2.5 to roughly about 10 centimeter H2O. From 5, it went up to roughly about 10 centimeter H2O minus. From 10, it went up to minus 15 centimeter H2O. For this graph, I am going to take middle value. Roughly, I am going to take middle value. At the beginning, what is the pressure in the pleural cavity? It's roughly about minus 5. With the inspiration, what happened? It become more and more and more negative. I am going to take breath. I am going to insert probe into the lung parenchyma. I am going to measure the pressure in the lung parenchyma. It should be nearly correlate with your pleural pressure, because when your pleural pressure more negative, parenchyma also should be more negative. When pleural pressure less negative, parenchymal pressure also must be less negative. So what I am going to do is I am going to measure the pressure here. Initially it is 5, then it's gradually drop into roughly about 10 with the inspiration. At the end of the inspiration, there is a thing called inspiratory hold. If I take breath in my mouth, what happens is I take my inspiration and I am going to hold it for few hundred milliseconds, then I am going to expirate it. Likewise, my breathing cycle happens. So here the inspiratory negativity happening from minus 5 to it went up to minus roughly about minus 10. After about After that, my inspiratory hold happening. When I start inspiratory holding, pressure changes gradually to reduce little bit. Pressure changes gradually reduce little bit. Why? Initially, I need high negative pressure here in order to drag the air. Why? When I drag the air into inside of the alveoli, during my inspiration, I have to do work to overcome the resistance of the alveolar duct. I have to do work to expand the alveoli. So I have to do work here, W1. I have to do work here, work 2. During the inspiration, I have to do work, W should equal W1 plus W2. After I finishing my inspiration, now I am in the inspiratory hold. Now, do you want to do work against the air traveling? No. Why? No air traveling at that now. Because of that pressure, you need lesser pressure to maintain the alveoli distance. You no need to do this work now. Because of that, pressure need to maintain the alveolar distance is little bit lower when comparing to previous value. Previously, you need to do work to overcome the resistance and alveolar expansion. Now you need to do only alveolar expansion work because no flow. Now you are in inspiratory hold. Because of that, your pressure is little bit dropped. From here to here, you are in inspiratory hold or inspiratory pause. After that, your expiration happening. After that, now your intercostal muscle discharge stop. Your chest will start to recoil into back. Diaphragm also no more contraction. Again, diaphragm come into normal position. With that negative pressure 10 again come back into 5. Negative pressure 10 again come back into 5. This is how your pressure time changes happening in your lung right now. This is how pressure time change happen in your lung. Pressure and time. Now I am going to check the volume time change. For that, what I am going to do is, again I am going to do an experiment. I am going to put some gadget here. It measures the volume come into inside. Additionally come into lung. Then I am going to measure the volume time. Here my time axis, here my volume axis. Initially, no. Then I start breathing from here. When I start breathing from here, what happened? Air gradually come into my lung. Once I inspired my tidal volume, from here to here, tidal volume, I will stop breathing for a few hundred milliseconds. We are going to call it as inspiratory pause. Here my inspiratory pause, then my expiration happening. Initial part of expiration rapidly happen. Latter part of expiration happens slowly. Likewise, little bit of exponential fashion. This is your volume time change. Volume time changes of your lung. Here we discuss about pressure time change. Here we discuss about volume time change. Now I am going to draw flow time changes. Flow and time. For this axis I am going to take flow. For this axis I am going to take time. Flow time change for my lung. For that, what I am going to do is, again I am going to keep gadget in the trachea. It measures the flow. If flow come into inside, it will deflect in the positive manner. If flow go from the lung to outside, it deflect in the negative manner. So initially, it will increase the flow come with the inspiration. What happened? flow gradually increase, flow went up to maximum level, flow gradually reduce. After that, I take my breathing. Now I am in the inspiratory hold. Inspiratory hold is there. Then I start expiration. My initial part of expiration is rapid. That means flow is rapidly happening. So initial flow from here to here. Now flow is start to go from here to here. Because of that, that flow must be negative. So my expiration happening. This is my flow time relationship of my lung. Flow time relationship of my lung. Now I am going to draw. Flow volume relationship of my lung. Flow volume relationship of my lung. Look carefully. Now I am going to compare this volume changes curve and flow changes curve simultaneously. This is my volume axis. This is my flow axis. I am going to start breathing from my functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity means when I expire, when at the end of the quiet breathing, that means quiet expiration, the amount of gas which remaining in my lung is called functional residual capacity. At the end of the quiet expiration, the amount of gas which was present in my lung is called functional residual capacity. Here my lung zero volume, here my lung volume functional residual capacity. I am going to start breathing from functional residual capacity. Then I am going to inhale air. I am going to inhale air. That inhalation, the flow I am going to take as negative. Previous inhalation, I take flow as positive. Here I am going to take it as negative. So I am going to take that negative inhalation flow as negative. Then I am coming to my tidal volume from here to here. I am going to add tidal volume from here to here. Functional residual capacity plus tidal volume is there. Now I am going to expire it. That gas I am going to expire. Expiratory flow must be in that case positive. So I am going to expire. Initial part I can rapidly expire. After that I have to slowly expire. This one we are going to call as flow volume relationship of my lung. Flow and volume. What I did is I started breathing with the functional residual capacity. I take tidal volume into my lung. I expirate it. This is my inspiratory part. This is my expiratory part. Inspiratory flow I taken as negative. Expiratory flow I taken as positive. If I want to draw it for my vital capacity means tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume. In that case, I should start breathing from my residual volume. Residual volume means the volume of lung which remaining after forceful expiration is called residual volume. It must be somewhere here. Then I am going to take maximum, I am going to expire as much as possible. Now I am in residual volume. Now I am going to take as much as possible air into my lung. That one I am going to take total lung capacity into my lung. Now I take total lung capacity from residual volume. Here total lung capacity approximately 6 liter. Then I am going to exhale it. Again initial part I can rapidly exhale. Last part I have to exhale slowly. This is flow volume relationship, my whole vital capacity. Previous one, flow volume relationship for my tidal volume. So next curve, I have to erase this one, I think. I am going to draw a pressure volume relationship for my lung. Here pressure volume. Here I am going to increase the pressure. Here I am going to measure the volume. Actually what happened is, when I increased in the negativity pressure here, my lung volume increased. Because of that I am going to put negative pressure here. From here to here negative pressure increase. Initially I started with 5 centimeter H2O. Initially I started with -5 centimeter H2O. Then I start gradually filling my lung. I came into tidal volume. I add tidal volume into my lung. Then I start expiration. This side curve is inspiration. This curve is for expiration. My flow volume relationship of the lung shows some kind of hysteresis. That means the work should I done for inspiration is different. The work should I done for expiration. The difference will be manifest as usually heat. So this is my pressure volume relationship of my lung. I will recap all those curves again. Number 1, pressure time curve. How it happened? Pressure in this direction, time in this direction. It started with -5, then it went up to -10, then it came into plateau level, then again came back to normal. This is pressure time curve. Then number 2, flow time curve. Number 2, flow time curve. Initially, in inspiratory flow, in that case I take as positive. Flow gradually increase, come to maximum, and flow becomes 0. Then inspiratory hold, then start expiration, then expiration happening. This is flow time curve. This is your flow volume curve. Sorry, volume time curve. What happened? Volume gradually increased, then it remaining during your inspiratory hold, then your expiration happening. This is volume time curve. This is your flow volume relationship. Pressure volume relationship we discussed last. This is all regarding your respiratory graphics. In next lecture we try to incorporate this respiratory graphics into ventilatory graphics. Thank you very much.